last level was fun. How about we go back to another hammer puzzle? This one, however, is slightly different from some of the other hammer puzzles we've seen so far. I'm just going to go ahead and clear out all these fudge pops, because for this one, you just do that to get the first dream bag, but now we need to use a series of ice pillars on these open spots in order to fill in that gap leading toward the last dream bag. And of course we're going to have to deal with that guy. I hate these things so much. Anyway, you're going to knock it into this first ice pillar. And now we're going to have to readjust the hammer. Oh, Jesus, that was close. That is the worst part about some of these later stages, is they'll have a bunch of enemies going at the same time that'll be pursuing you the entire time you're trying to do this. Damn it. Okay, let's try this again. Reset the hammer, knock it into the first pillar. Now move the hammer, actually, yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to knock it back into that ice pillar on top of where the noggles usually spawn and kick it into these ice pillars. We're going to move off to the side, but it's not quite lined up with the dream bag yet. So, we're going to take out this ice pillar and move it all the way to the right for that one ice pillar. Oh, melting. There we go. Now we're going to take out this one and move it down. Now, we're going to have to knock it up here and to the side. And once we've done that, now we can readjust the hammer so that it lines up with our block, and that'll be able to knock it up toward that ice pillar that's next to the spawn point for that thing. I can't remember what it's called. And now we just move the hammer, drop the ice pillar, and kick it into the gap. Oh, here's a hint. The next level has something that starts with an H and rhymes with jammer. You guessed it, it's more hammers! Now there is one unique thing about this hammer puzzle. It is possible to screw it up and still be able to finish it alright, as I'm going to display near the end of this. Now, to start things off, we're going to have to line up this noggle with the bottom spring and not do that. We're actually going to knock it into the hammer, and just because I'm going to use the spring. Now we can use that to fill in this gap, and this is important because this is how we're going to be able to get one of the blocks going across the other hammers to fill in that gap toward the bomb and the two dream bags. Now I'm just waiting for the opportunity to go in and kick it away and block off this noggle so he doesn't bother me, even though you kind of can't anyway because I'm standing on the tile. Now, what we're going to have to do is knock this block down, move the hammer into position, get out of the way, and there we have our bridge to the other two dream bags. Now here is the mistake that I made. The third dream bag is at the bottom of the stage, but the hammer is blocking it. Now there is actually a very simple way to get out of this. Now what you're going to do is go up to the top section where that one noggle is. As you can see, you can't kick the hammer out of the way from this angle. So we're going to go to the top noggle and freeze it so that it lines up with that bottom spring again, just like we did before. Only this time, we're not going to knock it into the near hammer, we're going to knock it into the far hammer. And that will cause it to go all the way back through the chain of hammers, break on this hammer, and it'll be out of the way, and we can get out of this stage. Oh, and by the way, next stage is another hammer puzzle. However, this is a hammer puzzle that is simple in design, has a simple solution, but you wouldn't think of it right away. Now the noggles are going to spawn down here, and we're going to freeze them obviously so they line up with this hammer. and then we kick it out of the way as it hits the spring, and that'll get us to the first 2 dream bags, but the hammer below here is going to be blocking our path. So the entire point of this level is to find a way to be able to knock that hammer out of the way, but still be able to walk through both hammers in order to get the last dream bag, because if you just knock the hammers around again, that first hammer is going to be blocking your path, as I'm about to demonstrate. See? Nothing doing. So what you actually need to do here is be able to find a way to get this block moving so that you are on the opposite side of the hammers, and then somehow knock it into place so that the hammers will switch around and you'll be able to go behind that second hammer. And that is where the springs come into play. Now what you have to do is make sure that this first hammer is not going to be in the way when you try and get the block going on the springs. Oh yeah, you need to get a block going on the springs. And we're going to do that like so. And we're going to move out of the way of it, knock the hammer back into place once it starts going back to the right, and that'll knock the hammer out of position, and we can go ahead and get the last dream bag. Now the footage for this last level I lost somehow. This has happened with a few other levels too, and I'm still pissed off about it. But I still can tell you what to do based on just the layout of the stage. That ice block next to the spawn point, you're going to kick it right, up, left, down, right, kick it up, then left, then down, then kick it into the spring to the left, move into that gap that's kind of behind and to the right of Kickle right now, kick it down, and then kick it left, and that'll fill in the gap and you'll be able to grab the dream bags. It's really just a matter of avoiding the spiky things. And you know what? Because we had a break from it for that last level, how about more hammers? This time we're going to be dealing with... oh, Jesus. 8 hammers. This is just a matter of taking it one step at a time. Now, obviously, the only place you can hit this block is into that top hammer. But the only place that's going to send it is to the other hammer, so we're going to tilt it to the side so that it runs into the top of the hammer and doesn't break on the handle itself, because it's got those little spikes on it. And you have to be really careful about these turtle guys, because it's been shown before, but if they run into your ice block, they will break it. And you'll have to go through all of this again. Basically, the entire point of this puzzle is not just, like, moving it through a bunch of hammers at once, but you're also going to have to stop it on the top of another hammer every time. And that's why most of these hammers are here. I mean, they will move the block around, but that's not, like, the key purpose of most of these hammers. Now we're going to have to kick this one to the left. I hate these goddamn turtles. Now I know why Shredder doesn't like them. Alright, anyway, it's on the top of this hammer now. Now we're going to have to kick this all the way to the side into the top of this hammer. And up top into... oh, you son of a bitch! That was close. Now we just kick it to the side, form the bridge, and we are out of here.